Are we alive?
And there's your volume control. If they start telling you it's too loud and stuff, there's the slider for the mic that's on your chest there.
Good morning. Yeah, they can hear me.
Good, good. You get a good loud, rich voice here. Probably too loud, who knows? They'll tell you soon.
It isn't that... okay. Hey, good morning. Hey, Corin.
Are you nervous about this? Are you okay? I wasn't sure. You're okay?
I'm fine.
Okay, good.
Where does it say the views and stuff?
We don't see that. We're on the broadcast. Okay. We don't see any of that information. That's why they have to keep telling us. So that's good. We don't want to know how many people are watching. It's our job to create content, not to be consuming. So.
How are we doing?
I think maybe you better introduce yourself, sir.
So yeah, my name's Taran. I'm the carver here doing an apprenticeship in Japan.
So as you can see, we had a guest, what's today? Today's Saturday, right? I can't know what day it is. Today's
Saturday, yeah.
There was a guest 2 days in a row. We had a guest Thursday.
Right, yeah.
Andy, who is probably watching this morning, I guess. No idea, unless she's busy with the boys.
Hey, Fly.
Is Andy on there yet? I don't know.
No, not Dave's apprentice. I can't see Andy yet.
No. Okay.
I'm apprenticing at Takumihanga with Motoharu Asuka.
That's probably difficult to understand. My friend Asaka Motoharu is here in Tokyo. He has a workshop called Takumihanga, and that's where Taran-san is training as an apprentice, an official, real apprentice, right? So.
It's officially a year now as an apprentice.
It's been a year. You started last spring.
Yeah, last April was my official start. I did a year training before that.
But you were the year for you as a student, right? I know, like
yeah.
you were paying him
lessons
for fees and stuff.
He said, "Do a year. We'll see how you are." So that first year, that was a bit nerve-wracking.
So like you passed the test, whatever, and he feels that you're probably going to stick with it, and it's worth the time. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a big commitment, isn't it? 10 years to dedicate to being someone's master.
Well, I was going to ask about that. Like, has he said, or have you two agreed to a time frame on this?
No, 10, maybe more, and then there's a sort of an obligation to give that back some time back after you're fully trained.
So you mean like you work for free for another 10 years?
No. Work, just doing work before him. Make sure you don't take all the skills and then run off and start something your own
so
business.
So when he calls you, you can't say no. You have to do the job. Yeah. Okay.
It's getting like Johnny Carlson, a new guest every night.
Where am I going to find them all? So I can drag people off the street here. Yeah.
Greetings from Seattle.
So the plan for today's stream here is, as you can see, I'm still working on this block. This is the last block for the 5th print in our subscription series. It's overdue. The printing was going to start this morning, but I didn't get this done in time. So they're going to start Monday. Monday morning, they're going to start test printing upstairs on this one. So.
And Sugi-san will be doing the test printing?
They're going to do it together. Sugi-san is going to do it together, and Ishikawa-san, they're going to do their own batches. Sugi-san is going to do her batch with colors that she thinks are appropriate, and Ishikawa-san is going to do the same thing. And the three of us will then have a powwow, the same as we did last month. We will look at the 2 versions and figure out what's the best way to go forward.
Are you an apprentice? Yes, I'm an apprentice here in Japan.
Yeah, but not here at Mokuhanka. Taran-san, who's on the guest today, is not my apprentice. He's the apprentice of Asuka Motoharu, who's an old, long-time carver here. My age, actually. He and I are the same age, yeah. So.
Pretty central. Maybe we could move the camera a little bit.
Which way? I can't see the screen here anymore. So.
Right, it's backwards, isn't it? It's mirrored. Are we okay?
I'm not sure what you mean. I need to.
This way.
Okay, hang on a sec.
So it's more centralized.
Around there?
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Lamppost is floating. Yeah, we have a floater.
Yes, we have a good float today. So.
Is the audio really bad? I don't know.
Well, the audio is working. We both have a mic clipped onto our shirts. Those 2 mics go into a Y splitter joiner, and they go into the stereo of the camera. So if there's an audio problem, let us know. Is one of the mics not working?
There's a high-pitched feedback.
That's the fan near yours, so I don't have any...
I can shield it a little bit. Good morning, Andy.
He's here. Hey.
Wait until his stomach starts up. I don't know, did you have breakfast this morning?
Don't want to talk about that. No. Too busy with camera work and shower and getting the show and tell ready and...
The fan's ramping up. Yeah, it's always going. Levels are a little lower. I can turn both mics up a little bit if you want.
They're together, yeah. Well, that's the outside.
How's that?
No, that's not the two
this
mics.
Is the outside?
That's the outside mic.
Keep that where it was. How's this? You
Testing,
okay?
This is Dave. Testing 1, 2, 3, level.
Taryn's mic is a bit low compared to Dave's.
They're not independently adjustable. They're plugged into a Y splitter going stereo. It's closer to your mouth maybe, or mine is closer to my mouth, or I don't know. They're not independently adjustable here. I don't have a mixing board.
I doubt the high pitch is coming from the fan. Maybe it's the connections then, the loose connections.
Well, good look. Can we wiggle stuff and see what's going on? I'll take mine first. Hang on a sec. This is Dave's mic connection now. We're trying to...
Sounds like a very bad CRT.
Plug. This is Dave's one. Just a minute. Messing with mine. Plug. Okay. Now Taran's. There's the connection for Taran's. Plug. Right.
Okay. Is that any better? That high-pitched sound is unbearable. Let's see.
Well, okay,
It's still there.
Let's take my mic out for a second.
Just to see. Is the high-pitched sound still there? Is it still there now? Yes, it is.
Okay, I'll put my mic. My mic is now back in. I am now going to take Taran's mic out.
How is it now? Is this any better?
This is just Dave's mic left in. Taran's mic is now out.
So I should be quieter. Yeah, but not. That's better. Slightly better. Okay, let's...
Well, what we can do is, if I move my mic off my chest, if I put my mic in the middle here between the two of us, the mic is now unplugged. If I put my mic in the middle here, if you speak, that's the only active mic at the moment.
Okay. Can you hear both of us?
So what I'll do, just a minute, one more.
Is this better?
I will take the splitter
No, it's
out.
okay, yeah.
I will just put this mic now directly into the camera.
Turn the levels up. Both sit sort of equidistant from it.
I can't see.
I think the splitter is broken. I think it's the dongles. We go from a 3 to a 4 jack, and it's a bit loose on one of them. Fantastic. Okay.
Well, your mic is now out. Okay.
So I can take this off.
So here's our only active mic sitting here. Okay.
How's the level? Do you want me to turn it up for Dave? Can you speak?
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Whatever you did work. Yeah.
Okay. Good. All right, sorry to be testing audio live. What can I do, Okay. Where was I? Okay. So
Okay.
right here.
Yeah, that's fine. Sorry, chat. Where were we? Let me just see if I can scroll back through some of this. Any questions? Good morning. Good morning. Yeah. Whenever you get that new MacBook, make sure to get a silent cooler for it.
Well, the new ones that are scheduled to come out later this year are very high powered, and it looks like the reviews of them so far are that the fans are just basically non-existent. The things run so efficiently. The new chips don't run so hot. We'll see, whatever.
Oh, my wife's here. Good morning.
Oh, so?
Yeah. This MEKA, that's my wife.
Ah, okay. She's good to get you out of the house, or?
I'm surprised to see her up at this time. She has work this morning, though. I don't think she'll be staying on.
What about, have you already walked the dogs this morning?
No, she had that duty this morning.
She can handle two of those by herself?
They're fine. You made them out to sound like monsters.
They're not monsters in behavior, but they're physical monsters. They're huge.
He's big.
He's bigger than her, for sure, to show weight-wise.
He's like 36, 37 kg.
God. And he's going to drag her down the street, you know? I wasn't being evil. I was just describing the situation.
People in the chat were like, "Oh, you got to train them from when they're young," like thinking I'm a bad dog daddy.
No, because I didn't mean monster in behavior. It was the physical, the size. You know, they behave very well to show.
Yeah, I mean she's 5 foot and very skinny, so she can handle them. I'm 28, 27, 28. What am I? So not so young anymore.
Way under half my age.
How does the apprenticeship work?
I myself, I'm interested in hearing about this too. So please, let us know about this.
So I'm working as a teacher. I'm going part-time as of this month. I'm cutting my hours back. But in terms of the actual apprenticeship, I did a year just paying for classes, because Asuka Sensei has a workshop where he takes anyone and trains them.
A school? Sure.
A school, yeah. And so I did that for a year. He saw how my progress was and stuff. And you get, the basic structure is you do a practice block or a couple of practice blocks to start with. And then maybe you choose a simple work and you switch back and forth from practice blocks to carving works. And the practice blocks there, usually we do computer generated lines, so they're all really technical lines. So the idea is
practice, straight lines, curved lines, straight lines, curved
lines. The idea is you get the technical, see, you can clearly, when you've got like a brushed line, you can sort of fudge it in the beginning. Like if you haven't quite, you know.
But mechanical lines really tell the story.
There's no
straight. Yeah, there's no. Okay.
If it's not perfectly straight.
I never thought of that. Okay, so when I started, it was just like freestyle, whatever. So you can't tell if it's good or bad. Everything is good by definition. But when you've got a mechanical pattern to carve, everybody can see, are you on the line or not? Yeah. Interesting. But the downside for that, surely, would be that doesn't this force you to carve in a mechanical way?
Like, that's why you do them alternating. So you do the purely technical carving for with the mechanical lines,
so you
and
do
then
both. You do both. Okay, a bit of both. Yeah.
At the moment, I'm not doing any practice sort of computer generated lines. My lines are, because I need to work on my taste at the moment.
So good.
So I'm doing all reproductions at the moment. But before that, I did like 9 months of just straight practice. So I'm overdue for some work. How many apprentices? He has one other apprentice. She's a couple of years ahead of me.
Also, who's that?
Nakashima-san. She, I don't know what I can say. She has some medical issues. So she can't be there all the time. And so she does a lot of the accounts and stuff like that. Helps him out with that. But she's really good. What kind of? I have a teaching visa. A special instructor visa.
Not related to the printmaking.
No, I have applied for an like on top side work, but it's taken a long time. I applied in like November or something. It's still not come back. Partly because of COVID, I think. Sorry, chat. I'm from North Wales. North Wales in the UK. Very, very rural. But I've lived all over the UK. I even lived in the islands above Scotland, the
Really?
Orkneys.
Really?
Yeah,
You
you could only
lived up there?
You could only get there 6 months of the year because the weather was so bad.
Wait, not just visited. You've lived up there?
We moved around so much as
When you were a child, you're talking about.
I went to about 11 different primary schools.
Really?
I lived all over.
Well, actually, there's an interesting point there, you know. You're living here in a foreign country. And for some people, they come here and they like it, but then they can't stand living here for a long time. They'll go back. That's the common pattern. I've actually ended up staying because I'm cool with it here. Wherever I am seems to be home. And to hear you have the same experience, because I myself too, every 2 years, when I was a child, always moved. So no roots, really. And it's interesting to hear that you had the same experience there. So that maybe makes it easier to live in a foreign country.
Yeah.
Because
Before this, I lived in the Philippines as well for 2 years. I haven't lived at home.
So wherever you are is home then. Interesting. That's maybe a key point, you know.
Yeah, there's definitely something to that. How did you decide to do carving? Wow. I don't know. I saw some videos. I stumbled upon some on YouTube. And then I'd always really liked Japanese art and Hidezumi, Japanese tattoos, and seeing all the old samurais. I used to really love samurais. Wow. I used to have this old book of Kuniyoshi samurais, and I used to read the Book of Five Rings, you know, the Musashi.
Yeah.
I loved that as a kid. It's like all that, the finding something and dedicating. So, yeah, I stumbled across some videos. I ran out to Tokyo Hands, grabbed some crappy knives and some.
That's here in Japan. But did you start back over there though, in Will?
Not really. I did like lino and stuff, but not actually with block carving. And so yeah, well, I started and I just knew this is like it suited me. I just wanted to do it more. I have a feeling he had an easy. No, it was over an hour. I had to get up pretty early this morning.
Glad to get over here.
I had a bit of a late night last night as well.
Two
Finishing
trains,
up the
right?
vlogs. 2 trains, yeah. It's not so bad on the trains. It's a little bit of a way.
Could be a lot worse.
No, I didn't do art school. I studied applied biological sciences. Sort of. I was going the pre-med route. I got a bit disillusioned. I was always forced against doing anything. I wanted to do all the sciences and art, and they just said, no, you have to do maths if you want to.
Is this family? Or
No, this is the school. They didn't think I could split the disciplines. So I resigned myself to it being like a hobby.
Okay, there's a deeper question there. People would look at us sometimes and they say, do you have a background in art and stuff like that? Are you an artist by training and things like this? And yet the job that I'm doing and the job that you're training to do is irrelevant. An art background has absolutely nothing to do with it. We are technicians, technologists, making stuff.
Good morning.
Good morning, hello.
Good morning. Konnichiwa.
So an art background could be in the way here.
Unless you're going the route of Sosokanga.
Yeah, of course. But that's not what you're...
Yeah. Just big nip on the point of the knife. Did you chip it?
I cracked it, broke it off.
Oh, I didn't see, sorry.
I broke it off. A good full millimeter, 0.5 millimeter.
So yes, big chip.
No, it popped the whole tip.
Oh wow.
Too busy talking.
Is the paper out? Yeah, well I hope so.
She just arrived, so if it isn't out, there's going to be a volcano. No, it's out. I took it out. This morning, I haven't had breakfast. It's crazy this morning. Up quick, toilet shower, that sort of stuff, and then her paper out, and then get the camera set up. And I had to order it's my daughter's birthday in Vancouver, so
oh wow.
I had to order some
Which
flowers
one?
over there. The older one.
Happy birthday.
She
She's not
tried
watching,
to be
is she?
an April Fool baby, but decided she would hang on there. And so her birthday's April 2nd, but she was supposed to be an April Fool baby.
Was that the due date? Oh.
No,
So
we
she
went.
did
No,
forget.
we went to the hospital the evening before.
Ah,
We went on
okay.
the 31st or 31st.
Last you were 3-4 days in the hospital?
It was. No, I don't want to talk about it here, but whatever. It was a deal. It was a deal. They nearly didn't make it actually, but whatever. It's a story for another
no.
day.
Happy birthdays, lots of happy birthdays. Does Japan do April Fools? I don't really think so. It's not really.
No, too sensible here. Every now and then in English newspapers, some writer tries it and he gets fired the next day.
I think you mentioned something about this before, didn't you?
Yeah.
And they have to send out the apologies.
Yeah, the idea here that someone in the media would tell a specific lie, but that's just unbearable to the culture here. Unbearable.
Like that. It's a lie, not a joke.
Whatever. That's, this is Japan. It's unbearable both to the readers of the newspaper and to the people who produce it. So any media. So without the media being able to put this meme out into the world, then the general culture hasn't picked it up. And it was only possible for this thing to spread in the West because it happened in media. You'd find bad stories in the newspaper, stuff like this, But here it can't travel by that method. So
I'm not a big April Fool's guy anyway.
no, I don't like, what's the word, when you, practical jokes. I don't like that at all myself. I don't like being the butt of them, and I would never do them myself. So never.
Funny meeting someone for the first time wearing a mask. I will think of Taryn. And I think, like, yeah, it can be strange sometimes. I saw some co-workers' faces for the first time.
Soccer, yeah.
Because I was taking photos for the new introduction wall. And so they just pull their mask down quickly.
It's cool.
That's what you look like, is it?
Soccer.
You can go years of knowing a Japanese person and never see their face, even before COVID.
Right. The strange one for me with years is you can go years with people never knowing their name. That's the one that's still strange for me here. We've got co-workers here who I don't know their first name because you never use it.
Ah, right.
Aoyama-san. So I never use his first name. Okay, sorry about this.
Shows Japanese ability. I don't really have much of a Japanese ability. I can understand.
Yeah.
I can understand. I'm studying, but I don't really.
So what is the plan then for that? Because obviously the intention is to be here a long, long, long time. So for you, you're so young, unlike me, it's worth investing the time. So are you actually going to school to study reading and writing? And
At the start of this schooling year, I was doing it every day. I had one day off a week. I was doing an hour on Skype lessons every day.
this is conversation. This is speaking.
Well, it was following a textbook, so also doing all the. So it was both. It was written and speaking. I was supposed to be doing the homework, but I had no time. This job was just. It was too much.
But if you
And
don't
so
invest
now
the time in this,
I'm planning on getting back with that
Okay,
same teacher and doing like 3-4 days a week.
Because at your age, you've got the time in the bank. So spend the time reading and writing the whole thing. Absolutely.
I get by. Someone's raiding. Tasty Fried. Hello. Thank you for showing up. Welcome, raiders. Is your goal to? What's my goal after the training? I want to carve. I just want to carve. I'd open my own shop. I'd probably not. I want to be a carver.
The thing about a
Learn
carver,
from Dave's mistake.
okay, but in the old days, to be a carver meant you sat in your room and waited for other people to send you work. So everything you did, literally everything you did, was decided by other people. Here's the next job. It might be the Great Wave. Again, you might have carved it 10 times. Here's the Great Wave. Again. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Not choosing any of your own work, if that's the way it ends up going. Because that's the definition of the job.
I don't see, unless I'm so slammed with work, why I can't also do some of my own work. But I've resigned myself to, that's fine.
Okay, just a minute. When you use that expression, resigned yourself to it, it sounds like that's still, that's a negative. So
it's not in a negative way. It does sound negatively. In Japan, did you live here? The illustrious... Is that in Japan? You lived in a fishing village, backwoods area, and people still don't realise that you live there. Tell Dave I'm not a hobbyist yet. I'm a craftsman.
But this is sort of my point. I'm not in any way being negative towards what you're saying. I'm just... Most Westerners who come here to do this, they want to draw the pictures and make their picture. You know, the other people on the stream here, Karen and stuff like this, they want to make their art.
No, I just want to carve. Whatever it is, I'm fine. I just enjoy it. I just.
I mean, I get it. You're speaking to the choir here. You're preaching to the choir. I get this, but it's a legitimate thing to ask. For a career, never being able to choose your own job, you know, is it okay?
Are there any special objects that Japanese people face when learning? Yeah, when learning English. Yeah, they don't get to practice. It's all exposure. Don't know if we want to talk about English teaching here. I'm on holiday. Off centre a bit, yeah, sorry. We're in the bottom right of the picture. Sorry about that. Could you go a bit down?
A bit down, you mean a bit up?
Yeah.
What?
Like that. Perfect.
Okay.
Okay? Off centre, boys.
And also, I think it's going to break again in a minute.
The tip?
Yeah. I meant to pull it back. I've actually gone here. I've made it too acute at the moment. It's too acute. So we'll see. We might lose it. I don't know. Sharpening there, obviously, you're not sharpening that way to show. You're sharpening side to side when you do yours. Yeah. Taran's too polite to talk about this, but as he watched me sharpen back then, he's thinking, that's not how it's done. It's not.
I'm not going to say anything about sharpening.
But this was part of the reason. I don't remember exactly how this happened. I think I must have got an email from you a couple of years ago or something. I don't remember. Before you came over here. And you were exploring the idea, can I come and work with you or something, or will you teach me? I don't remember the exact stuff, you know. And I hope I was polite, but I also would have said no, the same as we always say no to all these requests. And it's not no because I'm trying to be a jerk, or I'm trying to be private, or I don't want you around, or stuff like that. I say no to these requests, partly because we're not a school here, but also partly because the way that I do things, the way that I do this, I clearly understand is not the right, official, best way to do this. I stumbled into a various bunch of techniques that, you know, self-taught. And they work for me, they're okay, but they're clearly not the best way to do this. So with a young man like Taran here, when he first approached me, can I learn from you? My reaction is, no, don't learn from me. Go and learn from, no, this is serious, this is a serious point. Go and learn from someone who is more in line with the traditions, you know. And that's exactly what worked out. You did push through, you did some more practice on your own, then you went over there to Asuka-san's place, which is where you should be learning. You know.
I didn't go straight over there either, you know. So I sort of discovered your videos at the same time I was thinking, I've got to get out of this place. I had enough of my work. I was like, I'm ready to leave.
It's back in UK.
Back in the UK. So I sort of discovered, I was like, I want to try that. I don't know where to get knives here in the UK. And so I sort of booked, I looked for a job online.
A job in Japan?
Yeah. And so I didn't really carve until I came here because I was so preoccupied with the getting everything ready for the move, because it all happened so quickly. Within a month of deciding I'm leaving, I'd already found a job and I was moving out. But I didn't go right to Asuka Sensei's. Yeah, if he says no, that's the dream's over. I've come all this way.
You didn't come over here at that point? I don't remember that. No.
Pardon?
You didn't come over here at that point?
No, it was the same thing I had with you as I had with Asuka Sensei. I didn't want to come there and say, look, I've got these dreams of becoming a carver, and I've got nothing to show you.
Yeah, because we would have blown you away.
Yeah,
politely, yeah, okay,
go away.
I get it, yeah.
And so I spent like 6 months or something just carving by myself, going to wood like Matsumoto, and he's actually the person that called Asuka Sensei. He said, do you know about Asuka Sensei? And I kind of said, yeah, I want to be his apprentice. It's like, oh, have you met him? And he was like, no, I'm not ready to go see him yet. He's like, oh, I'll get him on the phone now. So he called him up right there. And he said, I got a young man here. He wants to be an apprentice. Okay, it's all happening
but
really
that's the
quickly.
first level, okay, but he wouldn't have said that unless he saw what you had done, that you had actually physically made some prints and that, wow, this guy looks like he's going to be able to pull us off. So that's the first step. You did, at least prove to him that you were interested in this and that, yeah. And then the same thing must have happened to Asuka-san. When you made this, wow, good.
Yeah, the first thing he said, oh, these lines, they're all dead. He doesn't pull any punches in that. But it's good, it really pushes you. When he says, Yokudekimashita, you've done a nice job.
He's already saying that after only like 2 years? Really? Lies, all lies.
He just means I've done it, I've used the correct techniques, not necessarily that it's living or anything.
Okay, well this brings up, there's a really, really, really interesting point here. One that I actually wanted to talk to you about. I don't know, is that okay in the outside mics on the helicopter or something?
How's that? Is that okay? I'm sure it's
Just
past
wait,
quickly.
just wait.
Oh, I'll turn it down a bit while we're talking. Sorry, chat, I'm missing a lot here. I'm getting sucked in. I'll turn it off. There we go.
Okay, the whole approach to this job, to sort of make this in terms of, paint this in terms of black and white. Back in the old days, young people came to learn the job. They were not coddled in any way. They weren't brutalized, but they weren't coddled. It was like, just do this. Not much was explained, not much was talked about. There was no friendliness in the workshop. There was no happy times together. The kids didn't have a lot of fun, but their idea wasn't to enjoy a job or have fun. It was to get good, get good, get good. When we talk to some of the printers, I don't have any experience talking to carvers who apprenticed, but the printers, and some of them really were. The guy would throw too much work. He would cut it in half and throw it away. He wouldn't pay them. And, the idea was to be semi-brutal and strong, the idea being that you either get good or you quit and run away. Now here these days, we can't treat our printers upstairs like this at all. We have to treat them kindly and gently or they're gone. But he must know this, so how strong can he be with you? It's better for your future and your training if he is stronger, not so polite, if he is cold, if he pushes you. But if he does that too much, you're going to maybe run away or whatever. How's that dynamic? How does that balance work between the two of you?
So that's fully what I was expecting. I was expecting him to be a lot more brutal than he actually was. Uh-huh. I expected there to be more cleaning work than there is, but he's quite independent. He likes doing things himself.
But he really is a nice, pleasant man
he's
himself.
Lovely, yeah.
His real person is a really nice person. But for the purpose of making you into a stronger carver,
the difference between the way he treats his students and the way he talks about my work is on another level. Yeah, he won't praise my work.
Gotcha.
If a student comes, this is lovely. He'll point out all the mistakes as usual, but he'll phrase it as, this is good, and then tell them. Mine is just, he'll like, I took a block to him the other day. It's an animal. I can't tell you what it is. It's an animal, and it has little dots on the face for where the whiskers go. And there's supposed to be 13 dots on this print, and when I was tidying up, I was trying to make them finer, these little dots. They're really fine. I was trying to make them finer. I didn't lose one. I took it a little too fine, so when the paper rests on it, you don't see it. The dot is there. Yeah. And he just laughed. He just giggled to himself,
As in, do it again, or what do you mean?
What is this? This isn't how we work. So he's tough, but he's so nice. He's so generous with his time.
That's the balance I don't understand, because to make you the strongest possible carver, There should be no friendship at all. Ideally, I think, it should be, you should be...
I'm definitely subservient. I know my place. We were filming for a TV show recently as well, and the interviewer was asking him about the difference between apprentices in the old days compared to now. And he was saying in the old days, the apprentice doesn't ask any questions. He just sits there and watches, and he either gets good or he doesn't. But nowadays, he says it's changed.
So he's sort of complaining, you have to be nice to these people or they leave.
No, it's more about that they demand answers to questions. You can't just say, this is how it's done.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'm like that. He says, there's things that I haven't understood until, like, there's things he'll say and I don't question why he said that. But in my own head, I'm like, why does he want me to hold it this way? I don't understand. But you'll find out in your own course of training, like 6 months later, I understand why he said that now.
That brings up, though, another really, really interesting point, is that are you going to 100% accept that is the way it's done? Again, the traditional way, of course, the purpose here, there as the acolyte, the trainer, he's there as the teacher, so the concept is he will tell you how to do it. But that means you have to accept that is the way it's done, no questioning, no changing, no other way to do that. And people like you and me in this modern world, like, there might be a better way to do this. We're thinking, or there could be a better way to do this. Things evolve. How do you, that's a real paradox, Shut up and do it and don't use your own brain. And yet, maybe quite possibly there is a better way to do this.
I think you've got to approach it with like two sort of minds. In the way you work, he says it, I do it. In my own head, I think about it. I don't blindly accept these things, but I do it the way he says. And more often than not, there's only one point which we've talked about where the kento should be when you're carving. That's the only thing that stuck with me, that maybe this has got twisted. But other things I've not understood it at the time. I've carved, and then I've had a eureka moment of this is why they do it this way.
So his point does make sense to you at some point down the road, yeah.
So I'm always thinking, but I'm confident that through his instruction I'm going to get better.
Yeah, I mean, at the level you're at now, clearly, in any doubt, just simply follow the instructions. Of course, that's common sense. It doesn't make sense to try and be too creative and strike out into new fields when you're still working on fundamentals. So I get that. So in the current setup, sure, do what you're told. But as you get more and more experienced, then
But my love is trying to find efficiencies and things. I really love organising things so that everything's really close and I can move quick. So I like sort of fast working.
Okay, but again, there's a paradox there as well, because I found this too when I first started doing this. And you really quickly realize that is the whole point of this thing to be efficient. I mean, the men who built the giant printing presses, you throw the tree in one end and the print comes out the other end. That's your ultimate efficiency. Is that our goal? Obviously, it's not our goal. Our goal is to use our own physical skills here. So efficiency, how much should that be considered or not?
You don't think? For me, that's part of the joy of it. It's sort of the pride in the work.
Being skillful.
Look at how good I did this in that short time. That's
okay. Wait, just wait. You qualify that in that short a time. So
I made this block in 3 weeks. That would have taken him 4 weeks. Isn't that a sense of pride in that?
No, I'm not arguing against you, but efficiency in terms of getting to the point where you just push the button and it comes out would be meaningless in our world. Sure.
Do you carve with the bevel on the left, the opposite side? Yes, I carve overhand mostly.
Yes, of course. So what
but I don't turn the block, so I'm using both.
You should be streaming, so people can see it. To encapsulate what Taran just said there, I don't know. I'm a left-handed person, so Oh, it's just so complicated. Basically, but I'm carving in front under my nose. I can see the line going here, and that line coming up is blocked by my finger. I cannot see where I'm going. This is a really negative thing. Why do I do it? It's because I didn't know any better when I first started 40 years ago. What Taranzan is talking about is he carves over the back of his hand. The blade is in the wood here, and he is looking down over the back of his hand, and he can now see the future. He can see where the blade is going. It's actually quite a bit more difficult to control at first, the first day, and the first month, and the first year, whatever. But once you've got hold of it, you have much more flexibility in your wrist. The knife can go down, across, all over the place, and you can see where you're going. You're still supporting it with your fingers, but you can see where it's going. This way, you can't see what's coming up. And also, I'm like a tennis player who has one shot. Maybe he's the tennis player with an overhand. He's good at it, but he's got no backhand. And Dave has no backhand here. Taran, because he's learned this way on the difficult one first, the backhand, when he then comes here, flips over, carves here, flips over, comes here, he's got a backhand and a forehand. And Dave doesn't have the backhand. So on a real tennis court, I would be blown away in seconds.
I don't think I'm there yet to blow you away.
No, I'm not, we're not, that's not...
Someone at the same level, I
yes,
suspect.
yes. So.
It frees you up to not only work quicker because you're not moving the block. That's the main advantage of not moving the block at the high level. So, of course, the efficiencies come in there, being efficient in your work. That's why you don't turn the block.
So, this, to make the same point again, this is why I didn't let you come here. This is why I said, no, I didn't encourage you, I didn't want you, because I don't want you to do this, And it's no good me having you next to me here and telling you, Taranzan, don't do what I do as I say. It wouldn't make any sense. So the best thing to do is just leave you alone, and you've found the best place to learn this. Absolutely.
Thank you, Shizni. Fly, please give him the block and you moderate the chat. Let's see the difference. No. My arm is exhausted. My arm is shattered after yesterday, actually.
Okay, but
I did lots of heavy banging.
That's a fun point. Actually, can you put a block up, please, Tom? On this job right now, we are running, I am running really, really late on this job, and the printers wanted it today. They need it Monday. So come last week, after I finished the key block, you saw me paste down the color blocks here. I have done one of them. The back side, you saw me do the green, and I'm doing this. The other two color blocks went to Taran. I sent them to him a few days ago, and he has, in a very short time, very nicely done these. So we have one color face here. You didn't cut out the river.
Pardon?
You didn't cut out the river.
Oh, the black line should be... Okay.
They're negative.
Okay. Well, I can do them. Sorry, I didn't realise that.
You also got the full width. See me? This is the base tone for the flowers on the cartouche. You got a fuzzy edge on there. Good. In how many days?
4 days, but I was working for 2 of them. So 2 days.
He's done one face each day, all the time being an English teacher and walking the dogs. And
actually, for this, I carved 2 sections, then I cleared 2 sections just to speed it up. And because I have to, you can't be banging it at night. So I sort of did the ice ski in the evening.
The neighbours are really, really close, so do you get any hassle from the neighbours about the clearing noise?
No, I'm really sensitive about it.
But how do you make it quieter?
No, I carve in Saturday mornings usually. If I'm banging, I do it on like weekends in sort of daytime,
but even then, they
mid-afternoon.
don't complain. Johnson has got so much trouble with his neighbours. As soon as he goes tap tap, that's it. They're over there.
You'll see on my Instagram, I used to go to a park to do my clearing.
Really?
I used to take a carpet, I'd fold up, sit down like that.
Sit on the ground?
Yeah, lie on the ground. I'd take a cushion.
Is this kid crazy or not? What?
I put my foot there as the stop, and then my arm goes on top.
So where was the question places? Were these things right here?
Oh, there's a bunch of little ones where you see that they're not coloured.
Yeah.
And those are bits that I thought maybe should be.
So, like this triangle thing. My guess is it's on here. Whether it should have been on the green calyx or whether it should be on the petals, I don't know. So.
Pardon? Which triangle is that?
This little zone right there, for example. That one.
Yes. That might be one of them.
Yes, it could be on mine, and
just above it, there's another one. I cut through it and then I thought maybe.
Yeah.
So it depends how you want to take
good.
that one.
Thank you very much. We'll just send it to the printers, and if we have too many doubles, we'll pull one off each one. The dangerous point is having a white spot is much worse. So it's 3. It's the green and then the background and then these petals. And if we have forgotten any areas between.
And there's another one there on that flower as well, similar. But I've made a decision with that.
Yeah.
I've added it a bit longer.
Well, that's why I put the is this one, you know?
Further
this looks
further
great.
right.
Tom, this looks perfect. That's why I put the color copy in there to show you. That was the photocopy of the block that I had cut.
That was
so
really
you can
helpful.
See the physical block. Yes, no, I know. I mean, I know this job. So.
It's so strange. This is a weird job because I'm not carving the key, so I've not studied the block before.
Yes. This is on my list of things to ask you today.
And also, that would have been one thing if you've done the key and I'm doing the color blocks. But I'm not even doing all the color blocks. I'm doing 4 of the color blocks.
So this is
It's
it goes back even farther.
It's a tricky job.
Turn it's even farther. I traced it. So I've traced it once, so I know where these lines are. Then when it comes time to carve, I already know what's going on. I don't remember every curve and wiggle.
And you're not thinking about it, but you're planning out.
Yes,
subtly there in the back of your mind.
So step 1 is tracing, step 2 then you carve, step 3 is then you color block. So you just jump into the color block.
This is so alien. Like, you've got 4 days, you don't know anything about this, just get it done. Okay, bang. Taran is a Welsh name, yeah. It's from the old fables. It means thunder in English. Taran. Cilch, yeah. Cilch is circle most of the time.
Did you speak the local language?
Yes. Our schooling was half in Welsh and half in English. So I was close to Llandair Pellwyngyll Gogeirwch yn Drobr Llantysilio Gogogoch. I was living quite close to that village.
Oh, be quiet there, brother.
Dwi'n wrth fy modd efo iaith Cymraeg. Oh, that's nice to hear.
Is there another Welsh person in the chat?
Someone saying they really enjoy the Welsh language. Show off. Oh, that's my wife.
Does she speak as well? No. Okay, well, Antonio, the next point that comes up that is clearly got to be addressed here. You're from Great Britain.
Yes.
You got interested in this Japanese culture. You're over here carving, and there's a future here. You're good at this already. You're going to get better, so there you go. I'm from Great Britain, Yorkshire. No specific connection to Japan, but found this, came over here and did this. Dave Stone's down in Okazaki, who is still here working. Another David, as a woodblock pen maker. He's from Lancashire.
William Francis.
William Francis. What's going on? Going on?
There's definitely something in the British mentality.
There are 4, and this is too much to be a coincidence. There are 4 British men, and this is another part of it. There are 4 British men of totally different generations. Dave is older than me. He's 74, 75. I'm 60. I'm not supposed to talk on Twitch. I'll be 70 next year. And you and William are, what's going on? Do you think there's something going on?
It's got to be coincidence. There must be something there, but I haven't figured it out.
It's not the first time round. 100 years ago, it was Seaby, Fletcher, Walter Phillips, these British men who dived in here and did this. They didn't come to Japan to do it. They were doing it in Europe. And there's Giles, Seaby, Fletcher, Walter Phillips. 4 British men who got really, really, really good at this.
So maybe the only thing I can think is that there's sort of the British mentality. It's not overt, it's not over the top. Like a lot of the things with Americans, the superlatives they use, they come in and say, oh, that's awesome, everything's big and grand in America. That's the impression I get.
The Brits come in and say, well, that's brilliant.
We don't, though. We sort of, it's the weather. American will come in and say, the weather's amazing today, and we'll go, yeah, it's all right. There's sort of a subtlety to maybe the British mentality, and there's a subtlety to the prints. They're not, unless you're talking about those Juhachiban.
Yeah, go on, dig yourself a hole.
I know where you're going to take this after.
I'm listening. I'm curious. I do not have an answer. I'm really, really interested in your viewpoint on this because I have no answer. This is it's too much to be a coincidence.
I think there's a certain subsect of British people that sort of enjoy the quiet and the more subtle. I guess I don't know how that's any different from any other country.
No, you keep working using the word subtle. I don't know, There's another viewpoint that could be brought up here. The argument could be made is the Brits, they're just so imperialist about this. They will go and dominate and steal something else from the other side of the world without a second thought. That's sort of as a negative thing here,
Do I need to be from Britain to have a break? I'm from California. No, I don't.
No, I just put the question on the table. But there's 8 of us, 4 of us in this century and 4 or 5 of them in the last century.
I have no idea. It's baffling. It's a strange. It's got to be just coincidence.
Island countries, island nations, with hostile neighbours, this kind of history, whatever. I don't know. How much?
But what does that have to do with?
I don't know. I said I don't know. I'm grasping at straws here, And it's happened in the first part of the 20th century and in the first part of the 21st century. It's just 100 years apart.
It's something to ponder.
And those guys all quit. That's the thing. That didn't continue. They all got into it, and it floated away. And it wasn't because of the war. It had died, it had floated away before the Second War. They were active in the 1900s, the 19-teens, and into the 20s, and then that was it. It faded away. Or here we are, we're active through the 2000s into the teens.
Brits are just trying to get away from the Great British weather. Maybe that's it. Maybe we're all just trying to escape. Maybe it says a lot about Britain that we're all escaping to Japan to do crafts.
Okay, what about, it's all also, these are for men.
I don't care to comment on that.
Okay, whatever. I don't know.
I have no idea. I don't have I haven't thought about it enough, to be honest. I love British weather. Yeah, it's nice. British weather, the Japanese weather's nice. It doesn't rain so much here, but my God.
Pardon me?
I'm from Britain. It rains.
Okay.
It rains 80% of the year there, so it doesn't rain that much here. I don't think. I don't see a lot of rain. When it does, it really comes down. But it's the humidity that gets me. I'd much prefer it to be cooler. Smartest response there, no comment, yeah.
Yeah, gender issues. Okay, I know, gender issues. But there is a question in the air, so if I try to answer it, I get in trouble. I just don't know the answer.
Same with lino cuts, it's huge in the UK. I think they just love printmaking. Yeah. But why? I don't know. What's the reason? Whereabouts in the UK do you live, though? I live in the Welsh mountains, so it's pretty rainy up there. Have I worked with Jed or have any plans to? I haven't worked with Jed.
Jed is working on world domination of the 21st century woodblock print, so it's so cool. He's hiring everybody he can get who has a sense for doing this. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. He's publishing people that wouldn't be publishable. He's supporting people who are trying to learn how to do this. What Jed is doing is just so cool.
I probably will at some point. Yeah, it's inevitable.
I think so. Absolutely.
Jed's empire. Yeah.
No. Well, he wouldn't use that word. He's my God. Maybe in the future the historians will talk about this resurgence of the Japanese woodblock traditional technique, and his name should be connected with that, because it's his ingenuity and design ingenuity that has been hugely responsible for this.
And also all the other workshops doing the same thing.
Well, they've all copied, of course. None of that was done until Jed showed the way, and then everybody else jumped on the bandwagon, which is cool. But the Jed instigated it. That's absolutely clear.
For sure.
That Kickstarter campaign. And that was the thing.
When was that, 7 years ago?
It was 2012, August, September of 2012, and it ran $250,000. And it stunned the ukiyo-e world here in Japan. It stunned everybody. And over the next couple of years, you saw all those other workshops jumping in. So it stunned the world. And it wasn't me. I mean, I was involved in making the prints, but the concept was Jed's. The whole creative concept was Jed's. And I said no, no, no. He pushed. I said no, no, no. He pushed. I said no, no, no. He finally just like grabbed me by the throat and said, "We are doing this." And so
it's really, you did him a favour in telling him to stay away from the carving. You know, didn't he initially want you to teach him some carving? And you said you'd be a designer.
I don't.
I remember you saying
there was, because at some point along the line, and maybe I got sick about 3 or 4 years ago for a while, and he was thinking, "Oh my God, what if Dave dies? What will then happen to this?" So he was thinking at that point, "Josh should learn to carve. Jed should learn to carve." And I said, "Just turn around and run away the far away. You know, your skill set, the thing you bring to this is the creativity. You can always hire people or lasers or whatever. You know, just stick with the part that you do best." You know?
Well,
he doesn't have the personality for this. It would have been a mistake for him to even think about trying this. He wouldn't.
It's the amount of time you need.
He wouldn't have gone through the first print, you know. So.
You're a Welshman, but don't really. Your accent doesn't betray. I moved around a lot. Yeah, I moved around. I lived in London for a long time as well. Did university there. But I when I was younger, I did have a bit more of a Welsh accent, but not very South Walian. The north is sounds a bit dimmer. Yeah, the British thing. I don't know. Just Western. Very popular art. Yeah, maybe there's just something in the sensibility you like about it. Who's your football team? No.
Here we go. Here we go.
No, here we don't go. I am not interested in the slightest. I actively despised football throughout. Everyone was so into it. People from North Wales, like, "Oh, Liverpool, come on," and they'd. I got a friend who literally ruins his weekend whenever one team plays another, and I just don't have time for that.
The Amish behaviour.
What connection do you have to them? I don't get it. If you live in the city and you support it, fine, but I don't have any connection to Liverpool or Manchester. I do have connection to Manchester. I just don't like it. So you're not going to get any of that here. Rugby, I used to play rugby. I used to play ice hockey as well. That was my favourite one. No, inline hockey. No ice rinks in North Wales. Well, there are, but it's like 2.5 hours away. Rugby and inline hockey is what I used to play.
Your family back there?
Yes.
What do they think about you being gone?
I've not really been there. We used to being apart. We spent a long time apart. You know, when I go there, it's the same. I haven't been back since I've been in Japan yet. I'd like to go back this summer, but I'm not sure that's going to happen.
Well, I mean, some of the other people I'm working with here who are overseas, like Cameron, for example, he's American. He comes from a large family in America, and they're living in Japan now very happily themselves, he and his wife, for a number of years, 4, 5, 6 years, I guess. But there's this huge cloud, you know, his mother and her mother don't like this. His mother and her mother want them to be nearby, you know.
They all think it's the best thing for me.
To be doing this.
Yes, I should be away. I'm a better person away.
And there's something interesting there too. This also might be part of that thing about British, and I'm grasping at straws here. When my mother, who may be here listening today, whatever, when Dave's a little kid, my mother is, you know, as much as possible, even though she knows it hurts her in the future, she tries to develop the independence in her kids as much as possible. Don't think about me. Go. You know, go fly. So the British kids fly and they disappear. They're gone away. I mean, in the old days, they were flying all around the world. They were gone, you know. So that seems to be part of this aspect of the culture. The British mother, unlike the Japanese mother, who would not want her kid to move more than a block away if she had her say in this, the British mother swallows hard and says, go.
Yeah, for me it was, out the house, gone. university, I chose that. One of the reasons I chose London, it's one of the furthest places away. It's either that or the north of Scotland. But so I went to London, far away. They want them to go. Yeah, I was a nightmare. I saw a question a second ago. What was it? That's why you're interested in this craft, not sucked into the suckle, perhaps. Yeah, Scotland is beautiful. Best not to get into childhood stories now, but I had a very different upbringing from most. We can talk about it some other point.
Good. Taransan is sitting here watching this screen and he's thinking, my God, Dave is so freaking slow at this. Block round, cut this, cut this.
I'm too focused on the chat. I'm not. No judgment. No judgment.
No, I'm not at all worried. You know, my track record is there. The stuff is out there. So you know, what happens on the surface here is.
Is that Jed? No, I'm not Jed. Thank you, Vivid. They're good, aren't they?
How's our time, sir?
9:02.
Okay.
10 more minutes.
Yeah, when it gets close, we have a show and tell today, of course. It's another sizable one. As soon as I learned Taran was coming today,
Get the big stuff out.
I got the big stuff out. Exactly. So.
Exciting. Yeah, it's a pretty big box. Does the print fill the whole thing? We'll talk about it.
We'll see. It's framed, which is part of art. So.
Taran, hold my beer.
This is April now, so your schedule over at your job end, the teaching end, has really been changed, right? From the new year?
Yeah, I have officially on the 31st was the end of my contract. That's when I finished that current year.
So from now, how many days a week will you be on?
I'm doing Tuesday to Friday, 12:30 to 6:30. So I can get a few hours in the morning, a few hours in the evening. Basically doubled my carving time, and I got an extra full day, which is really great.
But this must mean the compensation was reduced, sure?
By about half, yeah.
About half. So you need carving work.
Yes, please.
Well, you and I, we're not allowed to talk directly about that, obviously. So these jobs you did for me this week, we cleared it with Oscar Sensei first, of course. Yeah.
We can talk. It's just as long as he's in the loop.
Yeah. So what do you think then? How should we take this forward, rather than just like be a backstop to me doing this color job you helped with this week as an emergency? If you were having your druthers here, what do you think you would like to be doing with this? What should I approach him about? What kind of things should we be doing? How would you want to carry this forward?
I want to be helpful. I don't want to give you extra work. Oh, I got to think of a new print for this guy. I don't want that. Anything I can do to be anything you actually, any projects that you wanted to get done that are in my current skill range. I can do the transfers. I can do.
So that's the key. The current skill range. The shape and texture and mood of the lines. That's the one.
That's why I'm studying Shodo at the moment as well. Yeah. Shodo is Japanese calligraphy, so I Asuka Sensei sent me to get lessons so I can understand the origin of the brush. And kanji.
But he is going to be on board then with work flowing through. Is that the idea?
Yeah. He was a bit like I told you before. He was a bit worried when there was a big gap between the last project and the most recent one.
Really? So I should have followed up more carefully. Sokas. Because I didn't phone him up immediately and say, this was great. He assumed that I was not happy with it.
It's like, okay, he's done fine on this project, but maybe we'll give him some more time, you know.
Okay, soka.
Let him improve his skills.
Again, the thing is that he's Japanese, of course, and what you don't say is, you know, yeah, okay.
So these are the large veins that will go inside the leaves. These will be a darker green or a grey.
Yeah, exactly.
So
we would. I couldn't find anything else to combine them with on the block, so they're just here by themselves. So.
This is a Isoda Koryusai design. Is this from a Zodiac set?
Yeah, this one's from a set. So we're not making a Zodiac set, but this particular one is from an old Zodiac set. So.
These were pillar prints, right? And you've cut it down. Was it much longer?
I'm not sure. This was a bit of a bizarre size. It wasn't tall and thin, but it wasn't the normal chuban, so I don't actually know what it was. And I'm glad it was the Zodiac set, because it clearly says on the original, it says dog. Because we really sort of are, okay.
I think you've all been quite mean to this dog, to be honest. I don't think it's that bad. It's a dog. It's clearly a dog. Well, my wife did ask, why is it feeding cats, though?
No comments.
Do you have any favourite ukiyo-e artists? Yeah, I love Hokusai's lines. I think he's the best. I think he's fantastic.
Hokusai doesn't have lines. Hokusai has, I don't know, whatever.
Attack.
Energy to attack on the thing, you know.
I just feel, whenever I see his ukiyo-e or his paintings, he must have just been going at it frantically.
He must have been the most, what is it, ADHD, what's the expression, I forget, in the world, you know, whatever. Absolutely hyper guy, you know.
But brilliant, utterly brilliant. Fellow enthusiast. My husband thought it was a ferret. You're all so mean. Will you eventually carve the Great Wave? It's inevitable, yeah. At some point. It'll be a while though. I don't want to attempt that until I'm much further along.
Yeah, our own block is hanging in very well, but it's at some point it will wear out. Chon-san wants to do it also.
Maybe I'll be on the third one.
Yeah, maybe you'll be the third one, whatever. Or we don't even have to wait if we... That's actually a thing that we are now seriously thinking about. In fact, I need some feedback from the chat here. We have our Great Wave, carved by Dave. We are now coming up to 2,000 copies. It's still really in good condition, because we only do 60 or so each. But the demand for it, I don't want to put the number, because it will be I know, disheartening to people to hear it. But we have a great many people waiting for this. And it grows every day by 5 or 10 people every day. The waiting list is growing. And we can only make 50 or 60 every 6 weeks.
So 2 block sets would be the idea.
So the idea, just while Dave's current block set is still there, carve another set. Have Taran-kun here, or Taran-san, or Chon-san do a set. But the problem is, are people going to want that? It's Moko Hankan's publications, but it's not the one carved by Dave they saw in those famous YouTube videos.
Okay, ask us since it's a couple.
There's still the point, that's not Dave. And my point being, the thousands of people who are waiting for our Great Wave, would they accept a version published by us that wasn't carved by me?
What do you think?
I don't know.
Chon-san's pretty good.
He's better than me. You know, it would take him a year to do that. Well, I can't ask him to do it now, because it would take literally a year. He is so slow.
How do I sign up for the Great Wave?
I didn't hear that.
Just need to not emboss them. No, there's no slyness here, is there? There's no slyness here. Someone's saying you just don't emboss them. It's not the way things are done here, I don't think.
No. If Taran-san did carve one for us, we'd stamp his name on it, carved by Taran, printed by Yamamoto-san, or whoever who did it, of course. It's still my publication under my oversight, you know.
I'd be happy with the Taran version. Not yet, you wouldn't. I don't think I'm ready to
So
tackle
without
that
being
yet.
sarcastic, so not yet, I'm sorry. No, but coming up to a woodblock workshop near you. Yeah.
5 years, 7 years
No
from
idea.
now.
I don't know
We'll see.
about that number thing.
I'm very future orientated, so I'm like these numbers don't scare me. I think that's something that would really terrify a lot of people. 10
The
years.
future thing, yeah.
But I like having a goal that's, you know, I'm happy committing myself to that. Still, your brand shouldn't be an issue. Yeah, I agree.
And my oversight, you know.
Yeah, it'll have your colour way. It'll be tweaked to your specification. It's your. It'll be your
And it's the same
Hanchster.
Hanchster. Oh no, so my Hanchster, so my tracing. So exactly.
How about a half or a 1/3 copy? Ah, you mean reducing the size?
No, it's the same work to make it, and no. Just no, thank you. It's all the same work.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not ready for that. I know where I'm at, but it's not at a level where I'd be happy making a great lathe. I do it for me as practice work. It'd be fun practice work, but there's so many prints that I want to carve. I'm in no rush to do that one. I know it's going to be something I'm going to have to carve many times in my life.
That puts another question on the table right there then. There is so much existing ukiyo-e work, and the carver traditionally doesn't choose his work then. But would you rather do, you know, reproductions of a lot of old prints that need to be brought back to life again?
Yes.
Or would you rather work with modern artists doing new stuff in ukiyo-e style? Because surely that would be, wouldn't that be the thing that would be most attractive to you? Bringing a new era of ukiyo-e with living, you know, the next hokusai or whatever.
I think there's actually a lot of people now going that route, and the reason I got into this is because I love the old prints. So my goal is to become make
technician.
I want to make the best reproductions. That's my goal, you know. But I'm happy to, if there's work going, obviously you do both. Why do you have to choose?
Okay, but there's another aspect to this that a lot of people don't know. Someone like Asuka-san, your teacher, for most of his career, almost his entire career, 99.999% of his career, he's done these reproductions, carving the hokusai prints or the hokusais or tomorrow, whatever they are. And when you make a reproduction, we're carving lines that a carver previously carved based on the original brushstrokes.
This is something.
So the translation was done by the first carver 200 years ago. And Asuka-san's job now will not permit any translation. You can't translate the old carver's lines into new lines. You're just simply cutting what you see. Let a laser do it could be an answer to this, because the humanity has already been put into it by the old carver. But when I have the chance to carve one of Jed's designs, Jed splashes his brush across there. I am now the one getting to do this translation. And it's no joke. I am the only living carver in Japan who has lots of experience doing this. All the other carvers, Asuka-san and any of the other ones that are still left, for most of their career, all they have ever done...
They're carving other carvers' lines.
They're carving other carvers' lines. And if I were you, I'd be thinking, oh my God, it's my chance! You know, give me the brushstrokes, the raw brushstrokes with the mess.
I got to do one of them, that Setai one. You know, it had its problems, but it was just fun because that was a brush painting. You know, the one I copied from. So
this is a thing, Taran-san. This is a real thing, you know.
But they're finding new. You showed me those kunioshi, the unfinished
Okay, well,
ones.
that's what I was about to say next.
That stuff is so
there you
exciting.
go. So that's not a reproduction. There you go. A real kunioshi leftover brush.
That's the most exciting.
Yes.
It's the old. It's the old.
It's the real thing. You go back. You're just moving back in time 150 years to show your stuff. All right, give this to me. Let me see what I can do with this.
That's what I want to do. Yeah.
And there's so many of those. There's enough for a lifetime. They're in the British Museum. The V&A has a bunch. The Boston Museum has a bunch. There are hundreds and hundreds of old Hanchta that were not yet made into woodblock prints.
Then please, yes please. That's what I want. That's the peak. There's just something about the old brushwork. That's what I'm drawn to. It's the, how can they get that taste? It's the taste, the lines that...
Have you chatted with such a thing to Asuka Sensei? Like, does he miss this? He probably doesn't even know about it. He doesn't even think about it if he wouldn't bring it up. His job is to carve those reproductions ever since he was born.
I don't think it's necessarily reproductions. It's just that he just carves what the work he's given. You know, he has.
Yes.
There are some potential. There's some projects that he's like I know of where it's like new art.
Yeah, he's done some. He's done. He did a Moyer Han design we sent to him years ago. Yeah, so it's not a zero for him. You know.
Show and tell. Yes.
Oh, is
wow.
it time? What time is it?
15. Exactly. 16 now. Sorry.
Okay, now the mic sits there in the middle. I guess we should be okay.
Where are we gonna actually have this? Oh.
Okay, let's do this.
Is that a great way of people?
Okay, so bear with us for a minute, people. We're going to move some cameras around, so hang on a second. We are going to change. There's going to be a bit of seasickness while we move some cameras around here for a minute, so bear with us. I'm going to take the outside camera, and I'm going to bring it indoors, and we're going to use that for the show and tell. So I'm going to first expand this.
Should I grab the camera?
Yeah, if you want to bring it, you've got to bring it, extend the legs. So it's going to be seasick for a few minutes while we do this, so hang on a sec. Actually, the signal just died, so let's take this out. That won't survive the move. Come on through, extend the legs, bring it on in. Bear with us for a second here while we get this set up. Is that high enough? Sure, and come over to where the stool was. I mean, bring it. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. No signal.
I can't see. Okay, plugging it back in. Here we go. All right. Jeff, you're going to be the cameraman, are you?
Yeah. This is your show. It's all loose, is it? Can I...
Yep, it's on. There's your
zoom. Okay.
You got zoom on the top, this handle. So you got your...
Okay. Can I see? Oh, you want to see this?
No, I'm here. Yeah, okay. All right, thanks for your cooperation on this. We will now unveil this thing. So zoom right out for the first step on this.
We're out as far as it goes?
As far as it goes, okay. Well, actually, maybe you're too close. I should maybe take this thing farther away.
I can move this back. There we go. That might be better.
Okay.
She's big.
Look at this, the beautiful blue woodblock print. This is the back side. Can you zoom in here and let's see what's going on? Okay, look at the screen behind you. Okay, we have a mokohanga. This is ko haku bai zu. Ko is red, haku is white, bai is ume, plum, and zu is picture. So it's the red, white, plum picture, and it is by Ogata Korin.
Oh.
Somewhere here, Ogata Korin. Here, Ogata Korin is the designer, and it's Ko Haku by Zu. And it's a woodblock print pair made in about 1980.
Wow.
And
That's
you're going to
Korin.
have to zoom. Can you?
Sorry, I was looking at the print myself.
Yeah, maybe actually, I'm sorry. Maybe you have to back farther away. Do you? I don't know. Or go over here somewhere. I'm sorry.
Pencil. There we go. How's that?
And let me get lights. Okay.
Wow.
Okay, I'll sit over here while he zooms around. Let's get this shrunk a little bit. Hang on a sec. We don't need that here so much. Okay, he's going to pan around it. This was made in about 1980, the beginning of the bubble era. And the original set of screens is in the MOA Museum in Atami, here in Japan. And this was a reproduction of it made, as I said, somewhere about in the 1980s in a Kyoto workshop. And the gold you're seeing is gold. It is kimpaku. It is actually gold leaf put onto a panel, and then they've printed on top of this. And it's all done with opaque pigments, of course. None of this is ukiyo-e style. The white flowers you're seeing here, this is white gofun. And it's really, really almost an exact copy of the original painting. I've got a link here to the original. Hang on a sec. It has its own Wikipedia page, this painting. Someone's saying, Taran-san, get busy on this project. Please make one.
I'm not there yet. Well,
And the original painting here it's a national treasure. It's not a living national treasure. The painting itself is what they call kokuho, a national treasure. And they exhibit it once a year. Each year when the plum blossoms are open, this is put out on display over in Atami. And it said mokohankan on the back, not mokohankan on the back, it's mokohanga. It said mokohanga. And on the back of this, it gives some numbers about the blocks they used. Let me go and get a memo here. I can't remember more than one thing at a time.
so many comes.
Let me go check the back. Hang on one sec. Oh, I can't get around there. How am I going to get around there?
I can go.
Where's the label on this? Oh, I meant behind there. There's a...
Just close it a bit. I can keep. You can move that side, I'll focus on the other. Kyoto style.
Yeah, I got the numbers.
So many layers.
They put a note on the back about the colors here. And for each one, for the left one and again for the right one, there are 55 blocks, 55 pieces of wood for each one. And the printing count, the white one on the left here has 95 impressions, and the one on the right, the red one, has 98 impressions. And this would have been done on dry paper. These are not moistened sheets. These would have been done dry. These are opaque pigments which are mostly sitting on top of the paper. And somebody's commenting about this. I wasn't involved in, of course, this was done with nothing to do with me at all. But when they made their print, they had to make some philosophical decisions here. Do we make the print to match what the painting would have looked like when it was new, or do they make the print to match the painting as it's 200 years old? And somebody mentions the white. The white in the original has severely oxidized. I guess they used lead in it or something, I don't know. And the people making this reproduction decided to make it look like it would have looked like when it was new.
And they've got the gold leaf squares. That's carved in, is it?
Yeah, there'd be multiple impressions to give the impression that it was gold leaf. You know, it was all the old individual sheets, 4x4x4. And I think, I read the Wikipedia page and it says they think there's silver leaf underneath there. The silver leaf and then the gold leaf on top. And the silver is showing in some places, that's why it's turned black, it's oxidized.
Let's zoom in on that again.
Whoa, zooming in and out, I'm getting seasick here.
Sorry.
Can you just give us scales? Can you zoom right out if I stand by it? The scale, the size of this. So, the original, this would have been the two byobu, the full sliding doors. Like the space you see here is like you would go through a sliding door. So these were huge. This is really, really large size stuff. So this is severely reduced in size. We can save it for another show and tell one day. We have this pair of screens by Ogata Korin. We also have upstairs in the collection the Fujin Daijin, the thunder god, wind god, the large screens also reproduced as woodblock prints too. There's a spectacular exhibition coming at some point here.
Let's get that exhibit underway, the show space. Huh? Get it done. Get the
space is ready. It's beautiful. There's no visitors. We're ready. Do I have to make something else to print on gold? I myself have no experience with this. I have no idea the dirty details of how this is done. The easy, quick answer is the pigment is mixed with glue. Nikawa glue is heavily mixed into the pigments. It's put on wood blocks in a very thick form. The paper is dabbed on from the back. This is not the vigorous rubbing that we do on ukiyo-e style to get the pigment up into the paper. So these are gluey, thicky, opaque pigments, lightly on the block, and dry paper pressed onto them to make the transfer. It's a totally different kind of printmaking than we do here in our ukiyo-e workshop. And this is multi-layering. They just keep cutting blocks and printing until you make something that looks like the painting. There's no way anybody could afford to do this now. This was in the bubble era back in Japan when there was free money all over the place. The label on the back says this was made with support from the Culture Ministry. So the Culture Ministry probably got together with the MOA, the museum that holds these things, I don't know the details, and created this project to make these things. So it might have come with government sponsorship, I don't know. And it says on the back, it was done as a limited edition of 300 copies. This is number, 190 or something, I forget what it said. And whether that's true or not, I don't know. We have lots of experience with seeing 300 copies and then different 300 copies and stuff like that. I don't know, in this case, how accurate that is. And these may be online, the MOA, so if someone's got the link here. The original paintings, I'm sure, are online. I think now and then they take them over. They took them to Boston a while back for an exhibition. I don't know.
Oh, the cover doesn't do it justice.
So how much the pigment sticks to the gold? As I said, there's probably a solvent they put on it first and then the pigment goes down. I know nothing about how this is done technically. It's completely outside of my experience. So there we have it. That's today's little item. We have other similar things upstairs in our collection, and at some point when we're going to make an exhibition here, we can make a spectacular exhibition.
This must have cost a pretty penny though.
I looked up this morning, and what it sold for back in the original 1980s, I don't know. I got it for $50,000, and I thought I don't need to pay this much because it's going to come cheaper at some point. But I paid 50,000 yen, which is just about $450 or so. So I'm happy with this, whatever.
Yeah, that's cheap.
But almost certainly, if this came up for auction tomorrow, probably nobody here wants it. It's just too big. Nobody can display it in their house. There's just no use for it. And the blocks, to make this now, there's no wood. I mean, this was made on cherry blocks. I said, what did I say, 55 blocks. They wouldn't all have been that big. The background blocks would have been that big, but then a block for some plum blossoms would have had Soto Kento outside registration. So not every single one of those 55 wood blocks would have been the same size.
Yeah.
And my guess is the wood blocks are still there. They're probably over at the MOA in a back room on this at this museum. The blocks are still there.
So many subtle gradations.
Oh, somebody's offering to pay me $700 for it. So not for sale. Okay, there we have it. It's 9:30. Johnson, you can come over and say goodbye to everybody. Just move this back a little bit.
Apologies, chat, for not being more involved.
What do you mean not being more involved?
Involved with them, I didn't answer questions very well. We got chatting and
I'm sure this will not be the last time that this young man's going to be a guest here. I know he and I, as some of you know from the chats over the past couple of months, he and I have a plan to do some talking together and to do some recording of our talking together. And exactly what format or how we're going to do this, we're really not quite sure, or whether it's going to work, whatever. We're going to play with this for a while. There may be 2 dogs involved. I don't know, so we'll see how it goes. So stand by, and maybe there will be more stuff coming in down the pipe. But until then, Taranson is certainly welcome to come here, and he may, now that he's off school teaching a bit more, may have more chances to come by and drop by.
Yeah, Mondays are free, so maybe.
So we'll see. It could be. It could work out something else. We'll see. Okay. Thanks very
so
much. We will be off. It's Saturday now. I will be back 2 days from now, and I really, really have no clue what I'll be doing because these blocks are gone. I've got to be finished this. It's out of here. They're going to be printed on.
And the next subscription, no?
But I haven't got a tracing ready. I've got nothing. So I'm going to be sitting here tracing on the stream, or I don't know what I'll be doing. Anyway, I'll be back in 2 more days. Thanks very much.
Bye,
Signing
everyone.
off now.
Thank
See you
you.
later. Bye for now. Hey, Taranson, thanks for coming today.
Thank you.
Really been
It's good fun.
Really been useful. Thank you.